Good evening, parents, students, and teachers. My name is Samuel, and I'm 14 years old. Today, I'd like to present on a topic called No Poverty by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Now, to start off my presentation, I'd like to start with a quote by the famous Nelson Mandela. Now, it says, "Overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity. It is an act of justice." Now, this means that when you're trying to help overcome poverty or help the poor, do it because it's the right thing to do, right? Do it as an act of kindness. Do not do it because someone does it for the sake of doing it, right? Now, to start off, I'd like to start with 5 basic things that you need to know about the Sustainable Development Goals, which is also called the SDGs. Number 1, it has 17 goals in total. As you can see in the diagram below, each goal is labeled 1 to 17. Moving on, number 2, it applies to all countries. It means that all 17 goals applies to each and every nation of the world. Doesn't matter if you're a less developed country, such as Africa, or a high developed country, such as America. It still applies to all. Moving on to number 3, interlinked and interconnected. Now, this means that a lack of progress in one goal affects others. Let me give you an example. You want to develop goal number 6, which is clean water and sanitation. In order to do that, from making dirty water to clean water, you need a machine, right? And to afford a machine, you need money. And when you have the machine, you need to operate it. And to operate it, you need people who knows. You need knowledge on how to operate the machine. Therefore, it includes goal number 1, which is no poverty, and goal number 4, which is quality education. Now, without any of these 2 or 1, it affects your development in clean water and sanitation, right? Moving on, goal number 4. Now, the SDGs are set out in 2015 by the United Nations, and they're hoping to achieve it by the year 2030. Now, if you're wondering, how does poverty exist or why it exists? Now, here are 6 reasons that poverty happens. There are many other reasons, hundreds, thousands of reasons, but I feel that these 6 reasons are the most important. To start off with the reason number 1, which is lack of good jobs and job growth. I'd like to give an example on this reason. Now, for example, you own a chicken rice store, right? And in order to do that, you will need ingredients, right? You need utensils, you need pots and pans. Now, money has been spent, right? You need to buy the utensils, you need to buy the ingredients, and time has been spent as you need to prepare and you have to cook the chicken, roast your chicken, right? And by the time you open your store and you have no customers, now what happens is that you get no income, right? As you have heard of the saying, no job equals no income. But in this situation, it's lack of job growth, as in you spend more money than what you get. Now this can affect poverty. Now moving on to reason number 2, which is lack of good education. I feel that education is the basic, right? You have primary school, you have secondary school, and you have high school, and then you apply for a job, university, so on and so forth. And without the basic skills, how can you go further in life, right? For example, you want to be a scientist, you need science. You want to be a businessman, you need math. And without any of the knowledge, how can you apply for a job, right? How can you do something without knowing how to do it? And that affects your job, and therefore it could lead to poverty. Moving on to reason number 3, which is warfare. I feel like this reason can be a little bit unpredictable, as you are a regular citizen, and when war happens, you can't really stop it. And when war happens, it usually destroys many infrastructures in your living area, such as the bank, your workplace, even your home, and you're forced to evacuate. Therefore, it ruins your life. And you cannot go to work, right? And the phrase, the saying, then comes, which is no job equals no income. Moving on to reason number 4, which is weather and climate change. I feel like this is also another reason that is a little bit unpredictable, as when a tsunami hits or earthquake hits, you cannot really prevent it. And you're also forced to evacuate, and it destroys many infrastructures and your living area. And therefore, you cannot really go to work, right? And many of these occasions happen in a third world country, such as Africa or Bangladesh, right? And usually they are a poor country. Moving on to the 5th reason, which is lack access to basic healthcare. Now, your health is really important, right? Health is what makes your body move, what makes your life happen, right? And if your body is unable to move, how can you be able to work, right? You're sick, you're stuck at home, you cannot make any progress. Therefore, you get no income. And it also leads to poverty. And last but not least, the 6th reason, which is lack access to water and food. I feel like the last reason is an interesting one to me, as water is a key factor to many things. It's a very essential thing to your survival. Without water, how can you be healthy? How can you move on a regular basis, right? It affects your health. And when you're talking about food, you need water to grow crops, right? And without water, it makes it difficult. Now, therefore, you're sick and you're starving. It clearly leads to poverty. I hope you find this interesting. Now, moving on. Here are some statistics that you might need to know. To start off, you can see the image to the left. It says 1 in 6 children live in extreme poverty. Now, think about it, right? That's quite a lot. When you're in a class of 24 people and 4 of them live in not poverty, but extreme poverty. And that is quite a lot, right? Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Now think about it. How severe that is. Moving on. There are 9.2% people in the world, which is 689 million people in the world, earns less than $1.90 per day. Now, that is not a lot. That's little, right? For example, a packet of nasi lemak, right? It's around $3.20, $3.50, and you earn less than $1.90 per day. And it's 689 million people. So imagine that amount of people cannot even afford a packet of food. Now, don't think about lunch or dinner. Just think about a packet of food, right? But luckily, by the year of 2020, it has increased to $2.15 per day. Now, imagine what happens in 8 years' time. I think it'll increase by a lot. And to conclude my presentation, I would like to end with a quote by the famous author Mark Twain. It says, "We cannot end hunger unless we end poverty." Now, this links back to what I said just now, as poverty is one of the key factors to all the problems, to all 17 goals, right? In order to solve hunger, you need food. How do you get food? You need money, right? And therefore, poverty is a really important issue. And if you're wondering, oh, how may I help? How can I contribute? Now, you can donate, right? There are many other places to donate, but I chose UNICEF. You can donate monthly or a one-time thing, but remember, do it because you think it's the right thing to do, not because others does it. Here are the resources that I use for my presentation. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.